When I was little, I moved far away from the place I was born, to a land of endless summers and tropical sun. This was my mother's childhood home. When I was about 3, I found a huge seed pod on the ground, long overlooked since the tree it came from had died. It sounded like a rattle when I shook it. I was told it came from that long dead tree in the corner, and how beautiful that tree used to be, with lacy leaves and brilliant blossoms. Now it stood in the garden, a gloomy, hollow, long, dead, tall stump. No branches left, no leaves, no blossoms. I couldn't even imagine the tree being anything more than what I saw it in that moment. My grandfather had planted it. He died a few years before the tree did. In my imagination, it was a foreign tree, taken from Australia, planted by a man I couldn't even remember, a man I met as an infant. I started planting the seeds everywhere I could, not knowing if they would grow. I had hopes, and I watched. The seeds sprouted, and soon sprouts grew everywhere I planted them, and grew taller and taller. When I was about 6, the small group of trees were the start of a forest landscape in the wide back garden, and I watched them grow for more than 20 years. During those years, storms came and went, even hurricanes, and they stood there towering over our house in the back garden, and the trees grew, sheltered and bloomed, protected, protecting, home and food to squirrels, birds, and even the neighbor's escaped pet iguana, and my little brother's escaped python. I moved to a land far away, with hot summers and chilly winters and extremes. My family stayed there with the trees, and I moved away to a land even farther to the north, and I never saw the trees again. They knocked down the house and chopped down all the trees, my mother sighed over the telephone. Ignorant and careless hands had cut down my grandfather's trees. She recalled to me how far you could see the brilliant tops crowned with flowers, flame-colored in red and orange. She didn't remember telling me about the tree in her youth, the one she transmitted to me in only an idea. And now I can only remember the contrast between the dead trunk and the 30 or so trees filling our back garden, trees that bent but never broke in those stormy winds. Sometimes I dream of that house. Sometimes it's a graveyard. Sometimes it's a place I cultivated things long dead, as my childhood, which now only lives in my memory. Every once in a while, my son reminds me about that long dead tree, and about how many new trees that had come from it. And he reminds me how it could always happen again, with every new enthusiastic generation. And this morning, in our garden, I noticed he found a seed, and he put it in the ground.